Well, here we are at the Niagara Summit in Anaheim. I'm being joined by Ged Tyrrell and Arif Osmani. Ged, I'm sure a lot of people know already. Ged, you've been around this world for quite some time in the world of Niagara.
Pretty much the whole of my life, Paul. And I'm still smiling. Check it out.
Exactly right. Arif from Red Hat.
Yes.
Now, I think, the burning question, the elephant in the room straight away is, what on earth
It's Red Hat.
is Red Hat doing at an event like the Niagara Summit? So
Go figure. Red Hat, I mean, hey, we're the open source like right. What do we do
Linux, right?
Yeah, we do Linux.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really where we place our mark is with Linux.
Precisely. I mean,
yeah,
it's an interesting question. Red Hat are here, and there's a number of other IT style businesses here too.
Sure.
What's the interest? I mean,
So the partnership with Red Hat and Tridium has evolved, and at the end of the day, we're really looking at the same type of customers.
Yeah.
And if you think what the needs are for our customers, our joint customers, is very simple. Their applications are getting more and more complex. And the requirement to orchestrate those applications, regardless of the connectivity type, so whether it's on-premise or different kind of clouds, and the other part of it is how do you do this at scale and speed? And that's really where we come into play with our application orchestration engine. So more and more of what we're seeing applications today reside on a container for a lot of different reasons. Number one, portability, security, and that all runs at the underlying factor is really Red Hat and Enterprise Linux.
So let me stay right there.
Yeah.
Because there's one word you use right there, container.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Now, a lot of the people watching and listening,
Yeah.
they will have heard of the word.
Yeah.
The whole idea of containerization perhaps is a bit alien to them. Now, you've got a difficult job here. Just in a few sentences, all right? Describe what a container is and how it benefits the people in this industry.
Yeah. So think of a container as exactly what it is. It could be a ship. It could be a vessel, and within that, you've got registries, you've got applications that reside in there, as opposed to having to re-architect your single base application and refactor them based upon what a cloud requirement is, or based upon what you require of your on-prem requirements. These containers are portable. So all the libraries are found within that vessel.
Yep.
Think of it that way. So the operating system's there, the codes for what that application needs to do to make it run, make it effective, right? Yep. The security, all that is found directly within that container. So think of it that way. So our development platform really allows our end users to go develop, applications in a rapid manner.
Yep.
Make this portable based upon requirements because your needs evolve. I mean, so today you may very well need to have requirements that scale for X amount of users based upon seasonal demand, but that could fluctuate. It could fluctuate based upon a lot of other factors as well. So this allows you to manage those types of applications in a row.
Sorry, go on there. Yeah.
The other part of this also is how do you manage this remotely? And especially think of where edge computing is coming, right? More and more of these applications are now being done and data is being gathered directly at the source. And as a result, you've got really good computational power that's occurring outside of the data center.
Yep.
So how are you going to manage this at scale? How do you go out and make sure that your policies are up to date? How do you go out if there's a roam device? How do you isolate that?
Yep.
So all of that is really part of what the story is. So it's not just about developing applications.
Yep.
It's more about how do you manage this at scale to ensure that you're meeting your compliance standards.
So all of that sounds both disruptive to the industry that we're in.
Sure.
And it sounds like it's in the future. Now, Ged, let me ask you this: is it possible, and have you, as a business, taken those concepts and rolled them into something real and tangible that people can get their hands on?
Absolutely, we certainly have. I mean, who'd have thought, Paul, when I first started up our business back in 97, that people would want to normalize data, share data, and visualize data. I mean, who would have thought?
Even that.
Even that, and even then. So here we are now, and having been in running our group of businesses now for nearly 26 years, looking forward, almost I feel we're at a point of a crescendo where there's so many converging factors, investment strategy around ARR, which is pushing us towards recurring revenue model for our businesses.
That's right.
Containerization, as I explained. I think that the future, we're seeing that future. And at Tyrrell Building Technologies, we're putting everything into that now with the I think the experience, the domain knowledge of the last 35 years for me, looking forwards, in partners like Red Hat, Intel are just crucial for our future as a business, but also for the future of the industry in delivering on the demands of those clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understood. So taking some of those concepts and ideas, and the whole world of the cloud and AI, and machine learning and augmented reality, all these buzzwords,
that's single pane of glass. Absolutely, all in there.
all of these buzzwords that we all hear about,
of course,
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a danger in that disruptive technology that actually we alienate the systems integrators who they're very comfortable in the world of the boiler room, the sensors and valves and pumps and heaters, chillers. All of the stuff we're talking about here sounds like something that's too far from them. Is there a gap that we need to draw through to get those disruptive technologies into the hands of those people?
I think we're doing it. Okay. I mean, in many ways, you look back at the smartphone revolution. The idea that we can download several apps that do similar things and host them on hardware that is in our hands. I don't really see there's much difference. As long as we can provide the tools for people to be able to deploy applications, even that they're actually familiar with, then the hardware, in my view, becomes kind of agnostic.
Definitely.
One of the difficulties we see in our industry is that engineers who are deploying these solutions with immense plant knowledge and experience, domain knowledge, they have a familiarization with the tools that they're using.
Okay.
This technology actually allows us to offer those same familiar applications, but without being coupled, bound in to a particular vendor's hardware. Now, that also gives the vendors an opportunity to concentrate on what they're great at in delivering the applications, without having to worry about security.
That's exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. All of that. Right. And I think on top of that, I mean, open source is really the foundation for innovation. You think about this, and all of our products are really centered around Australian open source. So I think the end users are very comfortable with this, knowing what you can offer as far as a foundation for growth. When you think of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, that really becomes a foundation. And think of that as an on-ramp for all things that you can do. So if you know open source RHEL, you already are there as far as being able to develop things off of the platform with OpenShift, but the various other tools that are available. And rightly what you said, Paul, I mean, AI seems to be the big buzzwords these days. It's all about AI. And that certainly is fantastic. I mean, AI is in itself going to drive a lot of growth to our end users, and that's rightfully so on its place. But you're not going to get there if you don't have the right type of foundation. You're not going to get there if you don't have the right type of platform, the right type of tooling. And for you to be able to deliver things at scale, AI is fantastic, but without the right type of infrastructure in place, it becomes useless.
And let's explore that idea of the phone. Because we take what Apple have done, and actually, in fairness, what Android have done too. Which is they have made a relatively complex product and a relatively complex series of applications was very straightforward for the user of those things. In other words, it's not really the foundational technology, it's the application of the tools.
It's the user experience.
The user experience.
And that's what it is. You're wowing the end customer with something that's as simple. I mean, you don't need a manual. Let me pick up an iPhone. It's intuitive. You know what should be done with this. And that's really what we're trying to do with this part as well. Right? Because if people are comfortable with open source technology, And it's not something that we're developing. It's what the user community is coming out and contributing to.
I think there is a really important point to make, though, which is back in the day, when me and you started out in the industry, you would install a controller, a box on the wall, and it might sit there comfortably for maybe 20 years. And one of the I guess growing complaints we see amongst the clients is the lifetime of the products that we're deploying in this industry now is just too short.
Sure.
And I think working with Red Hat, it's not just about open source, it's about the support you need to be able to guarantee that service delivery through the product.
And
at least 10 years, right? At least 10 years.
Yep.
We're seeing in the open source community now, there's so many distributions in Linux, and in particular, which most of us use in the embedded world, where you maybe end of life in 3 years.
Sure.
But you've got a production plant running.
That's right.
Well, what do you do? You feel really exposed. You remove that exposure.
It's so critical for your infrastructure, so critical for your operations to know that, what can I rely on? If I want to standardize on a solution, can their support be there for those bug fixes for the next 7 to 10 years?
Yeah, that's exactly. And absolutely right. And of course, with businesses like Red Hat, you've got that long-term history.
Yeah,
stretching back and stretching forward too. So that there's a confidence you can give to end users that actually this underlying foundational technology will be there in the future.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you now look at, we talked a little bit about tools and deployment and so on. In terms of what does this sort of partnership relationship and the technologies that are there, how does that deliver benefits not just to the systems integration community, but to the end users themselves? What do they get from this? I mean, what's their big green tick in all of this?
I think from a Red Hat perspective, it's, we've got a pretty vast ecosystem, but more importantly, how we go ahead and deliver solutions to our end customers. So if you think of what we're doing with Tyrrell, right?
Yeah.
Great concept. I mean, as far as going out and disrupting the building automation space. But the challenge is, how do you deploy this at scale? The challenge is, how do you ensure that you've got the right level of security? And
what's the answer to that? I mean, it's how do you do those things, Arif? That's the question.
So the infrastructure is already there. For Red Hat, I mean, so we've got the tooling available. The underlying technology is Red Hat, but it's really not us. I mean, it's Tyrrell that's delivering these solutions. They're leveraging the Red Hat ecosystem to go ahead and deliver things at scale in a rapid manner for their end customers.
Yeah.
It's knowing that you've got the best in breed technology with our open source, and those patch vulnerabilities are going to be there. You also know that you've got a very strong foundation as far as the operating system is concerned. Where, as Ged had mentioned, for the next 7 to 10 years, you're covered when it comes to any type of future updates, any vulnerabilities, any patches, the support that's provided. Because at the end of the day, this is critical.
Yep.
If you're going to bet on a horse, you want to make sure that these solutions deliver not just today, but down the road. But I think the last part of this is really about that user experience, about the flexibility, because your needs today could very well be different tomorrow, 1 year or 3 years.
Right. Yes.
And so the worst thing would be for you to go develop an application based upon what your needs are for today and not worry about the future.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to solve. We're trying to make, it's focused on that end user experience.
It really is.
Yes.
And so the applications that would be deployed will very much depend on the demands of the user.
Correct. Yeah,
absolutely. And what they want to try and achieve and how they want to achieve it. Giving them a real freedom of choice is what it's all about. I mean, okay, so, and what do we feel we're bringing in that's different? You could go and pick up an embedded computer and drop it into, a building.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not geared, it's not domain specific.
Mm-hmm.
What we've tried to do, and we are delivering now, is domain specific edge hardware, which is almost like it's a merging of this powerful embedded compute into a domain-specific piece of hardware.
Yeah, understood.
With relays and inputs and outputs and all the stuff we need in the automation space. And I don't just talk about building automation. I mean automation, wherever that might be.
Yeah.
So that is our journey.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do it without partnering with people like Intel and Red Hat,
right,
in order to deliver those into the hands.
You're really taking a lot of those central services that Larry's talking about, the containerization and so on, and pushing that out further towards the edge.
Correct.
Yeah. And what benefit does that give the end user?
I mean, there's so many benefits. We just mentioned freedom of choice of application.
Yeah.
So they may, depending on what they want to do, the systems integrator can deploy, for example, one of our pieces of hardware and choose on the job what it is they may want to deliver onto that site.
Yep.
Their own preferred soft PLC or their own preferred containerized Niagara.
Yep.
I mean, you're right at the front with this and building multi-billion automation space. But more than that, high availability. The ability to be able to switch between controllers seamlessly, as we've seen demonstrated this week by Red Hat. High availability, time synchronized networking, where we've got automation controllers communicating with each other in a synchronized fashion that works on the shop floor in an effective way. Something that we just could not do before.
You're almost suggesting, Jed, that we can achieve like hot standby for. I mean, it's like the nirvana, the thing we've been reaching for in the industry for quite some time, and it's a difficult problem to crack. But are you saying that's naturally something?
We're here.
Okay,
we are here. And there's a lot of tailwinds behind it. There's market tailwinds that we're being pulled forward through. But we all know about the cost of energy, the push towards more sustainable buildings in our space.
Yeah.
But the same demands that you would see in the industrial space as well. So all of that is pushing. And then, as I said about investment, there's just so many factors right now. All these sort of threads that are coming together at this moment, which is what I believe is leading to a crescendo of change or disruption, as you might imagine.
And if you take all of what we're talking about here, it all sounds very expensive, all right? It sounds like what we do, add extra fat, extra software layering into what we're doing already. Are we just adding more complexity and more cost into what we're trying to do? Or is there an argument that says, actually, you know what, we can do these things in a much more efficient way, overall the cost and use of these things?
Well, you'd be surprised anyway at the cost point. It's not a massive departure from where we are now, but I'd want you to focus on the lifetime cost. The full life cycle over a 10-year period. And with that regard, this is much more cost effective than what we're doing right now today. Right. Because in 3 to 5 years' time, we are going back on job sites and replacing hardware. Right. That if we can take the bold move to move away from the race to the bottom on price and actually take a view where we're going to bring in controllers hardware that is capable of not only having different applications served, but also to do that for years to come. Guaranteeing to our clients we'll do that for 10 years.
10 years or more.
Or more.
And the cost factor, I think, from a large factory or someone that relies on the criticality of systems always being up and running, you need to probably, our end customers are looking at, what is the cost per minute for a downtime? What that mean? So it's having that critical infrastructure for them, that peace of mind, knowing that, I rely on my productivity line to do the following things. And each down minute, what that really translates into lost productivity, lost revenue, et cetera, et cetera. How you automate that and how do you go out and push those policies and ensure compliancy? There is no substitute for that. Especially, exactly. Especially if you think of things that are outside the data center. Because it's no longer behind that four walls.
That's right.
So it becomes even more complexing for an end customer to go out and manage these, what I call mobile data centers that are outside your traditional data center. And they're vulnerable. And how you go out and manage that remotely is really a very critical part of what we do and what we are developing with our partners like Tyrrell. To ensure that, you're always meeting those standards. We all know about cybersecurity attacks. We all know about vulnerabilities that exist. We all know that firmware, and the list goes on. I mean, so those things, you can't take that away. There is a cost associated with that. And the benefits that come.
Do you know what else we're seeing as well? One last key point that mustn't be missed. our clients are asking us to deliver data into their hands, the end users. And the end users are now they're different animals than when we're dealing with back. In many cases, more knowledgeable.
Describing end users as animals.
Different than what we were delivering buildings years ago. So end clients want data.
Yeah.
They're doing things with that data that we, at the moment, we don't even know what they're going to do or they've even dreamt of.
Yeah.
Now, in the same way that they're doing that in delivering, for example, building experience applications on phones, this opens up the opportunity for those same clients with their own software development teams to create applications and run them right there on the edge in that hardware.
Yeah.
Right? Delivering additional benefits for themselves.
Yeah.
Things that we couldn't even dream of right now.
Yeah.
And we want to make that possible.
Yeah. And you touched on that a few seconds ago, which again comes back to this thing, which is if we push that further out to the edge, are we not just making the edge more vulnerable to cyber attack? Because as I understand it, what we're saying is we're going to take that software, we're going to take it out from the world of the data center where it's nice and safe and secure, and we're going to push it right out to the edge into our embedded controllers.
Sure.
Are we not just taking vulnerability closer to the edge?
It certainly creates a lot more vulnerabilities, but you've got to make sure you are secure.
Yeah, that's right.
It's already being done today.
Yeah, so they already exist.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is inevitable because more and more of computation will be occurring outside the data source.
Yeah,
it's more efficient. It's not very efficient to take all sorts of data and to send it behind through a cloud and having it come back. If you can go ahead and process that data and make actual insight right then and there, right in itself, that right itself will save a company X amount of dollars. I mean, there's all sorts of additional benefits that can be done. Everything from quality controls. So if you're that 10-second or 30-second delay could
make a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you're not able to have those actionable insight being done right then and there, and also have a secure, scalable solution that ensures security and compliance at the edge.
Yeah.
So you kind of checked off all the right boxes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, look, gents, we could talk all day, quite literally, but I want to thank you for your time. Arif?
Yeah.
Welcome to the world of building controls.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and it's only a natural extension for us to be here.
Absolute pleasure. And Ged, nice to see you again. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, thank you,
guys.
Thank you.